Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar on report selections and custom report settings. My name's Calvin, and I will be your host and presenter for today. And in the background, we do have Duncan and James who will be available to answer questions there for you. So we're going to have a look at report selections first. So what are report selections, and how do you go about setting them up? The next one is custom report settings, which we'll jump into after that. So what are these? What are custom report settings, and how do you go about using those as well? And then to finish things off, because it is just a short session, about half an hour long, we've got a little quiz to run through as well to get you a bit engaged. Now, it is completely optional, and all answers are anonymous as well. And finally, we'll finish off with any further support, and of course, a little bit of time left over for questions if you have them. First section is report selections. So what are report selections, or what is it? So this feature within Payroll allows you to run multiple reports as one. So if you have to run a numerous amount of reports for an accountant, for example, or just for yourself, you can run these in a select group. So if you want to run specific reports all as one, and you can then send them as a single file, print them as a single file, or separate them later, you can do. You can fully customize that selection as well. And of course, as I mentioned there, you can print or save the file as one or separate reports. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to jump into a demo a little bit later, okay? But just as a quick screenshot, here's what the report selections looks like and how we're going to go about setting them up. And before we jump into that demo, what I would like to do is just to get an idea. So I'm going to bring up a quick poll about how many reports do you typically run during a pay run. So we're going to bring up a poll now. So we'll launch that on there. So this is similar to how the quiz is going to work. So you'll see an option on screen there with 3 different answers. So do you run less than 5 reports typically during a pay run, between 5 and 10, or more than 10 as well? So this is just to get a bit of an insight. But yeah, feel free to participate. It's completely optional. We'll only leave it on for a quick minute as well, so about 30 seconds left, and then we'll close it. We'll have a look at those results, and then we'll get into the demonstration. Okay, so what we'll do is now we'll close that down. The minute is up. Let's quickly share the results. So we have a majority in the middle there, between 5 and 10 reports, which is what I kind of expected to see. But we've got a couple of you out there who do more than 10, and a few lucky souls that have to do less than 5, which is wonderful. So let's have a look at that demonstration. So if I just bring my screen back for you all, we'll jump into Sage 50 Payroll Program, and we'll set up a report selection, and we'll show you how it's run. So here we are in our program now. Now you can do this for both pre-update and post-update reports, but I'm going to be focusing on post-update specifically. The process is exactly the same though. So what we'll do is we're going to hit the reports button across the top here. Now for this, I've got my employees selected, but when you're setting up for the first time, you don't need to worry about selecting any employees. That's just for when you run the report. So you'll see an option down the bottom on the left-hand side. It says report selections. So we'll go ahead and we'll select that. Then we're going to click new to create a new report selection. Now you can't edit existing ones there. So we'll call it demonstration, because this is what it is. And then we'll call it, give it a description. There we go. So we're demoing this in a live webinar. Now you can completely choose whichever name you want, whichever description you want, that best suits the selection for yourself. So it could be something like for accountant, and then the reason why they need them, or what reports are included, etc. It's up to you. The next step is going to add the reports into that selection. So now I'm going to jump in, just put in a couple of the more common ones, but bear in mind there is no right or wrong answer here. This is completely customizable based on your own personal preference. So it's about what reports do you run, add them into the selection, and what do you want to run all as a group. So we're going to go with the more common ones. So if I scroll down with employee selected, you'll notice as well, this left-hand side mirrors the left-hand side of the reports window. So it's easy to find those reports. and they're all in alphabetical order, and the reports themselves will always run in alphabetical order. You can't change that. So for example, if I go down here, we've got the payment summaries. So if I added part 2 first, you'll see it appears here. And then if I go ahead and add part 1, which is by date, you'll see rather than appearing underneath, it jumps above it because they are appearing in alphabetical order. Then what we'll do is let's pop in our pensions payments report as well. And let's pick another one. Let's have a look. Which report should we do? Let's have some employee details ones. Let's have a look at their payments. There we go. So again, I'm just putting some random reports in to showcase the demonstration. It's completely up to you which ones you want to choose. Once you've done that, hit save, and then you can close that down, and you'll see that your report selection appears in the list there. So what you can do from here is you can favorite it, similar to how you can favorite other reports. But this time, if we were to run this, so let's go ahead and click the preview button. You'll see when it opens up, we'll get the criteria we need to select for each report that is in there. So we'll just leave it at the default and click OK. And if I expand this out, you'll see we have our employee details payments, remember, alphabetical order. Although that was the last one that we added, it was the first one that is ran. So you'll see across the top we have multiple tabs now, and there are all 4 of those reports that we have added that have been generated for you. So again, for those of you, especially for those of you who are doing more than 10 reports per pay run, this is going to save a lot of time because you no longer need to then print them or email them or export them or however you produce them individually. You can now do them as a single file, or you can even print them as individual jobs. So if I click the little arrow that's here next to print, you'll see that we can print the current report, which is the one we have selected, the tab that we're in. You can print it all as a single job, so you can send that to a printer as one job. It prints all 4 reports off at once, or you can print them as individual jobs. The same goes for exporting. So you can export it all as a single document, so you can have all 4 of these reports in one document, or you can export the current report that you're currently on as well. So you've got a few different options there in regards to how you want to print them, or of course, send them to whoever needs to have them. So again, a real time saver for that one. And as I mentioned, it's fully customizable. Add whichever reports that you have that you want or that you want to run into the selection. It's going to save you a lot of time. So that's report selections. So if we pop back to the slide, so as you can see, it's nice and quick. There isn't too much to it when it comes to setting up, but in terms of time saved, there is a lot of time to be saved there, because I know when you're running multiple reports, doing them individually can be a bit painstaking and of course take a lot of time. And remember, you can do that for pre-update reports as well as post-update reports. So what we'll look at next is we're going to move into the custom report settings. So similar to the report selection, what are custom report settings? So you can use these custom report settings to choose the order in which the individual elements appear on some pre-update reports. Now I have to stress some, because it's not all pre-update reports, and it is only pre-update reports. And what I will say is, if you want a list of which reports this affects, there is a link on this particular section in the handout, so do follow that link and you can see a full list of reports there. We're going to be focusing on one, which is analysis of payroll totals today, but as I mentioned, there are a couple of them that do get affected. What this does is it also saves you the need to completely redesign the report itself. So it's perfect if you use, if you have a lot of pay elements. So if you've got a lot of pay elements, a lot of deductions, they're a great tool to have, especially if you've got a lot of different departments as well. And you can choose the order of up to 30 payments and deductions. So that's 30 payments and 30 deductions, and 10 loans and 13 different types of attachments. Bear in mind the attachments are already pre-built into the program, but you can choose to have specific ones and in which order as well. So here's a quick screenshot of the setup. Again, we'll be jumping into the program shortly. So you can see on the left-hand side, we've set up a couple of report selections there, not report selection, sorry, custom report settings for different departments. And the right-hand side is where you'll be adding those pay elements and deductions. So what we'll do, let's jump into the payroll program again, and we'll go ahead and we'll have a look at those report settings. So to find this, you need to go to tasks at the very top. Then we're going to go down to company. Then if we go across, you'll see custom reports. So we're going to be clicking on that. In here, you'll have your custom report setting. Now we've set one up when I tested the data this morning already. So to create a new one, you would click new, or if you have an existing one and you just want to amend that one, you'd highlight that and click edit. Now I know it's quite small, so you might not be able to spot it, but if you can see the little star that's currently next to the reference, which is 1, this is because we are currently using that report selection. So how you would use this once you've set this up is you would select the report selection you want to use, or report setting, sorry. You would go back, you would run the report, you would then export that, save it, whatever you need to do with it, then come back into this section, change the report setting to another department, for example, and then go and run the report again. And then you'd have 2 different reports that have the different pay elements in a specific order that is relevant to yourself. So we're going to edit demo. So here we can give it a name. So we kept it as demo. And across the top, you have the multiple tabs. So payments being 1. And you'll see there, we have a couple of pay elements. And all you'd need to do is select in this line or the blank line. Then if you click on the drop down, you can select any of the pay elements you have. Now you can clear the whole selection if you want to, or if we add a couple more in for you, if you press F8 on your keyboard, you'll get the message to select delete the one line. So if you want to change a single line, it's F8 on your keyboard. So we'll add some more. Now I am leaving that gap in deliberately, and there's a reason why. I'll show you it in a moment. So you will get an error message if you do what I've just done then, try to add a duplicate. Put Christmas bonus in, there you go. You can do the same for deductions as well. So we only have 1, so we'll add that in, and you'll see we haven't got any loans set up, and of course there's all your attachments if you need them in, so I'll pop that one in. Then you hit OK, and then OK again, and that is the report custom report setting set up. Okay, so now that we've set that up, let's go and run one and show you what it looks like. So we'll click pre-update reports. Now I've got it favorited, so this is one of the reports, which is analysis of payroll totals. Now it is quite a common report as well, so just to show you that one. So we'll preview this again. If I again expand the page, you'll see in the bottom section of this, we have our payments and deductions. So you can see we've got our subscription that we added there, and you can see we have our payments added in the order that we added them in. The reason we left that gap is just to show you that you can leave the gaps and it will appear as you've set it up on the report. And if there's any blank spaces, so if you've not used the full 30, you get an unused message appear on the report. So you'll see we left that blank, so it states unused instead. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to close that down. I'm going to go to tasks again. We're going to go to company, custom reports. We're going to change it to the default, which has all of the pay elements. I change it to default there. You see the little star has moved. Click OK. And let's go run that report once more. There we go. So you can see now, because the default has all of the pay elements up to the 30th, any beyond 30 won't appear on the report, remember. So you'll see there, all specific reports, actually, it's a good point. This particular report, as you can see, has a maximum number so it doesn't go beyond this. So this is where a custom report setting would come in really useful. If you've got more than the list on here, even though you set up 30, rather than having to get the report amended and adding the additional lines on, you can switch out, or you can create a custom report setting that removes any unused pay elements, for example, so that you can fit all the used ones on the report. So you can see they have been added all the way down the list. So that is your custom report settings. And as I mentioned, there is a link on the handout here that will give you a list of those pre-update reports that the custom report settings can be used for. So it's a great way, like I said, if you've got multiple pay elements, of just organizing them in the way that you want and having that bit of customization without having to delve into the report designer, or of course paying for a new report to be created for you. So you can have a little bit of a play around and show you that little bit of customization. And of course, together with report selections, it speeds up processes a little bit for you as well. So what we're going to do now, so we've got 10 minutes left, and we are going to spend a little bit of time at the end, as I mentioned, going through questions, but we do have the quiz to go through first and foremost, a nice short session today. So we got a couple of questions. There's just 3. Now they're going to be run as a poll, as we encountered earlier before, and we will reveal the results of the poll, but not who's answered what. So you'll see it as a percentage, as you saw it earlier. So it is completely anonymous, and the participation is completely optional as well, but it's a bit of engagement, and the questions we did cover in the session. So question number 1. Can you change the order of reports run in the report selections? So let's bring up that poll. So it's a yes or no. Can you change the order of the reports run in the report selections? So you would click yes, then submit if you think it's yes, or no, and submit if you think it's no as well. Whilst this is happening as well, you can still, of course, ask the team questions. I can see plenty of questions are coming through, and they are working tirelessly through them. It's quite a busy session today, so there might be a small delay in getting those answers to you, but they are working as fast as they can. So apologies if there is any, but we will work through them as soon as we possibly can for you. Similar to the poll, we'll leave these questions up for a minute each, and we'll go through the answers at the end as well. Okay, so we've got 10 seconds left, and we'll close this one down, and then we'll reveal the answer. That is your minute. So let's close this one down and share those results. So we have 67% have said no, with 34%. The maths doesn't quite add up. I'll have to have a look at that go-to feature. I'm sure it's rounding, but 67% of you got it right. You can't change the order. So when it comes to changing the order of reports run in the report selections, it's always alphabetical, remember. So if you cast your mind back to the example, the very last report we ran, which was employee details and payments, that appeared first on the list, and it was the first report that appeared when we generated it. It's always alphabetical order. Okay, so it's time for question 2. If I bring my slide back up quickly. So question 2, we'll bring the poll up again. What appears on the report if you have a blank line in your custom report settings? So we'll bring that up. And again, this one's going to be a multi-choice one. So what appears on the report if you have a blank line in your custom report settings? Do you just see a blank line? Does it say unused, or does it have N/A for not applicable? So this is where you've left a blank line in the report selection. And when you run that report, what does it show for that particular blank line? Again, we'll rule a minute, so we've got about 20 seconds left, then we'll move on to the next question. Feel free at any point as well to go and have a look in your program for these whilst we're going on. Shouldn't affect your data as long as you don't save anything. So for custom report settings, remember it is tasks at the very top, then down to company, and then down across to custom reports. Okay, so that's the minute. So let's get that one closed and we'll share the results. So easier question, this one. It's also rather fresh because we have just gone through it. The correct answer is unused. So 89% got that one right. It says unused on the report for any blank lines that you've added in that setting. Okay, so let's again move swiftly on to question number 3. How many pay elements can you add in a custom report settings? So this is about the number of pay elements you can add. So let's bring that one up. Again, multiple choice. We've got 10, 20, or 30. So how many payments can you add when it comes to the custom report settings? Now I'm going to throw the caveat in that this is about the settings and not the specific report. So bear in mind some reports can take less pay elements than others. Okay, so we've got about 15 seconds left and then we'll close that down again. Okay, so the minute has come up. So let's close that down now. We'll share those results. And again, maybe I need to make this quiz a little harder for if we ever run the session again. Yes, it is 30. So 83% got that right. It's 30 payments and 30 deductions. Having said that, remember, each individual report can only take up to a certain amount of payments on each report. So you may be adding all 30 in, but you might not see all 30 on some or all of the reports, which is where you can change the order a little bit, which is why it comes in really useful. Okay, so that wraps most of it up. I just want to run through some further support and then we'll spend a bit more time going through the questions. So you have available to you, so you have your help center, which is sage.co.uk/help, which you can also access now in the new version of Payroll by hitting F1 on your keyboard or clicking the help icon within product. And with that feature, it does directly take you to the help that is related to where you are in the program, which is really useful. Or you can go there to this link, which is sage.co.uk/help, where you can search our knowledge base for specific questions. So if a question comes up, comes to you 20 minutes after the session ends, like is often the case when you think of those last minute things, you can pop into our help center and search the knowledge base for that particular question, or you can have a look at our support guides. Join us for more free webinars as well. So there's a webinars tab at the top there. We run them every Thursday, and we've got a couple on Wednesday as well, so be sure to check out the schedule. And of course, there are some videos, and if you need to get in touch with support, you can do as well. So the next one is Sage University. So here is where you go to sageu.com, where you can find all your free e-learning, your bite-sized learning, and your product certification on quite a lot of Sage topics as well. So if you head to sageu.com, you'll be asked to register, but it is free, and then you can go in and search for all of the available training that we have. So it's a really good little resource, and if you have time, I do advise checking it out. It's really, really useful and very engaging training as well. So that's it for the session. So we've got a couple of minutes left. What I'll do is I'm going to jump on mute now and go help the guys out with the questions. And then I'll be back a little bit later to say our final goodbyes. Now, just a quick note at this point. If you are leaving us, you will be presented with a bit of a short feedback survey. So it does mean the world to both myself and Duncan, who's in the background at the minute, but also delivers webinars as well. If you do spend that little bit of time filling out the feedback, because it means quite a lot to us, where we get ideas from you guys. We like to see what you think of the webinars, and we can then make changes to them in the future as well, based on what you're telling us. So it's really, really important to us. So thank you so much in advance for that one. So I'm going to jump on mute now, and then I'll be back a little bit later to say our final goodbyes. Okay, so I am aware we have overrun by 10 minutes today, so apologies for that, but we did have quite a lot of questions, so we wanted to get as many answered as we possibly could to ensure that we answered as and kept everyone as happy and got everyone their questions answered, as I've said. So thank you so much for attending. To everyone who stuck around to the end, it's been a pleasure to see so many people join us today. Apologies for the bit of the croaky voice for any regulars. They'll know that I don't normally sound like this, so I do apologize. Hopefully you managed to hear me okay today. That being said, quick reminder about the survey once the session comes to an end, and I hope you're all looking after yourselves, staying safe out there, and hopefully we'll see you in another webinar. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.